Batman tried to make the enemy think that Damian had died, but they quickly caught on, and we discovered the roots of Talia's anger. This is the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be continuing our coverage of Batman Incorporated with the second volume, first volume. It's a little confusing. It's New 52, Batman Incorporated, issues 3 and 4. When we last left off, Batman had come back from the dead and decided to build an organization known as Batman Incorporated, in which he made an army of Batmen. Talia formed up Leviathan to battle against Batman Incorporated and hired a thug to kill off Damian Wayne. But everyone quickly discovered that he never really died and Batman was faking it. Now it's time for the big battle, all of the assassins of Leviathan versus Batman Incorporated. Here we go. The woman was captured at Gotham Central Station, her eyes widening as the drug-soaked cloth was placed over her mouth. A short time later, she walked into a classroom full of unruly students, and across the blackboard she placed the Leviathan flag. "Okay, listen up, you little scumbags. Everything you've been taught is a lie," she tells them. The kids are all shocked as the teacher pulls out a gun. "Today we're going to learn something new. Leviathan brings a better way," she tells them. Some parents complained, but they were quickly detained and their children put into the system. Leviathan grew unseen. In a seedy club, the crowd watches as the beautiful woman's voice sweeps over them. At a lone table, Small Fry leans over. He's shocked to hear Matches Malone, as many people in the underworld thought the man was dead. "So I'm suspicious, that's all. Let me look you in the face," Small Fry says, leaning forward, and Matches Malone smiles as he lights a match, holding it to his face. "Do I look dead?" he asks, and he motions to Small Fry's bodyguard, telling them to get them some drinks. And after a brief moment of chit-chat, Matches gets down to business. "I need a contact in Leviathan," he tells Small Fry, but the tiny crime boss shakes his head. "Nobody talks about Leviathan, just be glad you're not Batman," Small Fry tells him. But Matches isn't listening anymore. He watches as two goons try to grab the singer and drag her out of the club. Small Fry tries to stop him, but Matches stands up, crossing the room, talking about saving the damsel in distress. "Back off, muchachos, I'm a master of karate. And just in case you think my lifelong dedication to non-violence gives you boys an unfair advantage, my crew does all the dirty work," Matches tells the two large thugs. Suddenly behind him appear three dangerous-looking men, and the thugs' confidence begins to waver as they begin to leave. "They won't always be around!" they shout to the singer. With a snap of his fingers, Matches' goons slip back into the darkness of the club. The singer leans forward, introducing herself as Lamina Lux. "I've heard things about you, Mr. Malone, but nobody prepared me for Sir Galahad," she says in a silky voice. Matches smiles, asking what the thugs wanted with her. "They came with a job offer. They started out ugly and turned way uglier. I asked if their boss could pay me in drugs," she explains to him. Matches frowns, explaining that he doesn't like drugs. But Lumina explains that the drug is an immune suppressant meant for her kid sister, who has multiple sclerosis. "What's the occasion?" Matches asks about the job. "A wake for the Brothers Grimm," she tells him. But she pauses as she looks over her shoulder, her eyes widening, and Batman stands behind him. "Matches Malone, here's the word for my street. Tread carefully or find yourself hitching west in your underpants." Batman growls and Matches jumps in fear. "Welcome home to Gotham," he snaps. Back in the Batcave, Dick apologizes for interrupting Bruce's intel gathering. "I didn't know she was about to talk. I arrived exactly when we agreed," Dick explains as he hangs up the Batsuit. But Bruce waves off the apology, thanking Dick for helping him. Bruce continues to work at the computer, explaining that he discovered that Anthony Grimm was dropped from a 1,500 feet fall by Talia's Man-Bat commandos. Dick and Damian cross the room, looking in shock at Leviathan's web that Batman has brought up on the computer. Alfred interrupts from his place, grooming the new Bat Cow. If I may interrupt, the animal does carry a synthetic hormone as suspected, derived from Professor Pig's pharmaceutical breakthroughs, it seems. Hamburgers for sale and Dark Tower outlets conceal a mind control drug precursor. Alfred explains to them, and Dick is surprised to hear about Pig, but Bruce just nods. "The Assassin's League is here. They're all here, somewhere in the city." Damian still isn't happy about being grounded, but Batman explains that he had a giant target on his back, letting Talia think that she killed him. It's much safer for the world if Robin is dead. "Yes, Father, but Mother knows that this is a ruse. She's doing this to separate me from you, to leave you unprotected," Damian explains to his father, barely containing his anger. "Don't worry, I could take care of myself, Bruce says with a smile as he pulls back on his Matches Malone disguise. Later, back in the seedy bar, Matches sits across from Goat Boy as the sniper explains the weird symbolism of Leviathan. Behind them, a different woman is singing on the stage. I need gossip on the street, Goat Boy. You say you killed Robin. Where do you collect your $500 million reward? Matches asks. Goat Boy is drunk, rambling as sweat pours down his forehead. He's afraid. He explains that even though he was blindfolded, he knows where they took him. I smelled that thing. I heard they used Batman's DNA to build a Frankenstein monster. I saw it kill a guy. He begins to ramble, but after hearing everything, Matches gets up and asks the bartender about Lumina Lux. The man just shrugs and tells him that the woman got a better job. Stepping out of the bar into a rainy night, Matches raises his hand and hails a cab that conveniently pulls up. Leviathan HQ, cabby. Proceed to target 1. Matches tells Alfred. Allies await your command, sir. Camouflage glass on. Feel free to transform. Alfred tells Master Bruce, and Bruce begins to change into his bat suit. Malone's cell begins to buzz, and Bruce answers it, hearing the voice of Lumina Lux on the other side. Matches, are you there? I need your help, she whispers to him. I missed your pipes tonight. Where were you, sweetheart? Bruce asks, speaking in his Matches voice. Matches, I think I'm in trouble. The wake for the Brothers Grimm, it's not a wake. It's some sort of masquerade. Something's wrong. These are bad people, killers. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I just know that I saw something in your smile. I have to go. She hangs up, and in the rain-soaked streets of Gotham, Bruce finishes changing. Abrupt change of plans, Alfred. You heard the lady. Target 2. Lux is singing inside the large house as Matches walks up to the front door, banging on the knocker. The door swings open to reveal 2 goons. They throw a plastic bag over his head and hit him in the stomach. Back in the Batcave, Alfred walks into the garage to explain the new plan to Damian. But as he speaks, he suddenly becomes dizzy, slumping to the floor. Damian gets up from the bike he's working on and he walks out of the room. My apologies, Pennyworth. Robin is grounded. Redbird makes his own rules, Damian says as he pulls on a new costume. Inside the house, Goat Boy walks up to Matches, who is gasping for air on the ground. He points up to the swinging body of Small Fry and explains that he had to choose 3 sacrifices. There had to be a scapegoat, Malone! You walked right into this. The House of Assassins is a roach motel for snoops, he shouts. And as a man dressed as a hangman leans forward, Matches pulls out one of his matches and flicks it to life. Outside, Redbird pulls himself up the wall and knocks out one of the guards. Another comes to check on the body, but he's pulled into the air by a trap. Another comes rushing over to help, but the body drops on him, knocking them both out. Dogs suddenly rush across the compound, and Redbird turns, drawing his Eskrima sticks. Go on then! Bring it! He snarls. As the noose tightens around Malone's neck, he still holds his match. He drops it to the ground, letting it light the trail that he left as he elbows the hangman in the face. The deranged judge begins to shout as the trail of gunpowder lights up. The hangman rushes out of the room, trying to stamp the trail of fire, but he's too slow. Matches laughs as he rips the plastic bag off of his head. Call Guinness! I just set a new record for holding my breath, he shouts as he begins to run. The doors burst open with gun-wielding goons rushing inside, and the entrance to the house explodes as a trail of gunpowder leads to it. Assassins pouring out, met by members of Batman Incorporated. World's greatest assassins meet Batman's front line, the Hood shouts as he tases one of the assassins. Gunfire erupts from the upstairs balcony and the bullets hit El Guacho's motorcycle. The hero ditches it, knocking one of the other assassins to the ground as Hood opens fire with his bow. The arrow pierces the man's shoulder, dropping him to the floor. More assassins flood into the house's foyer as the heroes continue their battle when suddenly an arrow flies through the air, piercing El Guacho's arm. Little flies to the spider's web. Malcolm Merlin laughs from across the burning room. Behind the house, Redbird looks up at the sound of destruction and combat, and around him the dogs lay unconscious. He fires a grappling hook into the air, climbing up to the roof, and inside, El Guacho and the Hood take cover behind a wall. I've had worse, Guacho hisses at his wound. If it wasn't for me, it would have gone straight through your head, Hood tells him. Show me what makes you so special, mate. The Hood shouts as he draws an arrow, stepping back out into the fire. He jumps back as 2 arrows slice through the wood and string of his bow. Who antagonizes an armed killer like that? El Guacho snaps. Inside the foyer, Merlin motions to the other killers around him. Buffoons, kill them! He, the Hood, and El Guacho all step out, meeting the assassins in hand-to-hand combat, but Merlin merely shakes his head and begins to walk away. "I won't waste my time with your hired goons. Batman is here somewhere," he calls out. And as he reaches the top of the stairs, he sees a dark, cloaked figure walking towards him. "Hired? If the others are anything like me, we're doing this because we love it," Wingman jokes as he begins to beat 3 assassins into submission. He stands up, not even winded from his fight. "So go on, take your shot before I get to you," he tells the archer, and Merlin draws another arrow. "No one is faster than Merlin the villain begins, but he stops as an arrow pierces through his hand, shattering his bow. He looks in shock to his left to see Redbird staring at him, motioning for him to be quiet. Wingman walks over, tasing the archer. "They do say that pride goeth before the fall. Down, boy," the vigilante jokes. He flips across the blazing hall, landing next to Redbird, taking up a position at the door. "You're not supposed to be here," he growls. "Do I know you?" Damian asks. Something about this hero is working at Damian's memory, when suddenly the door bursts open and the 2 goons run out in fear, blood leaking from several wounds and broken bones. Inside, Wingman and Redbird find matches standing around several unconscious bodies. "Damian, what did I tell you?" Bruce asks as he begins to remove his disguise. "Why are you looking at me like that? You told me Robin was grounded. Robin, not Redbird." Damian shouts at his father and he points at Bruce, explaining that he knew Talia would set up this trap and he wanted to help Matches Malone and the group. But Bruce shakes his head as more assassins begin to take up positions at the door. "We'll talk later. We have work to do. Rules are simple. Batman Incorporated versus 30 of the world's greatest assassins in a confined space. No one in and no one out until we're done." Wingman and Redbird leap into the fight as the assassins begin to flood into the room, Bruce nodding as he hits his comms. "Commence phase 2, he orders Alfred, and over in the Batcave, Alfred continues to rub his headpiece as he hits a button on the computer. "Phase 2, sir, commencing," he confirms. On cue, Nightwing, Knight, and Red Robin explode through the glass windows into the assassin's dining room. Squire is beneath the floor, cutting the power to the building on Knight's command, and the house is plunged into darkness as the members of Batman Incorporated continue to battle using their night vision. "Leviathan, I know you can hear me. How many more can you afford to lose?" Bruce asks as he pulls on his bat suit. "As many as it takes. Others are coming to take their place," Talia tells Batman over the house comms. Wingman gets on the comms, ordering Batwing to keep an eye out to the rooftops. Batwing confirms that the Man-Bat commandos are incoming, and he holds up a sonic cannon that he was given, dropping them all out of the sky. Elsewhere in the house, Goat Boy is dragging Lumina Lux away, a gun pressed to her head. He's still rambling, talking about how he needs 3 sacrifices to get into the League of Assassins. She begs him to let her go, but he only becomes more angry. "I did this for my child, so shut your face! You don't look at me. You don't get to judge me!" He snaps at her as he continues to drag her through the dark house, when suddenly a spotlight snaps to life, shining on them. Goat Boy raises his gun, scared, as Batman stands before him. "Your boy will be taken care of. Put the gun down. Let her go," Batman commands. As Goat Boy raises his pistol, Lumina twists and drives a fork into his neck. Goat Boy gasps in pain as his throat fills with blood and he collapses to the floor. "What have I done?" she gasps as she stares at the body, and Batman looks at her. "You don't have a sister, Miss Lux. You're the one with multiple sclerosis. I'll tell them that it was self-defense, and hide these," Batman tells her as he tosses her some of the drugs that help her condition. Batman Incorporated agents all gather within the foyer, and Batman informs them that they've done a good job. They've disposed of the assassins. "Leviathan, talk to me. This is what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. The League of Assassins is broken. Call your war, Talia. Meet me. Let's talk." "Tell Damian who your wingman is, and maybe I'll talk," Talia calls over the comms. Damian turns to the hero, Wingman, demanding to know what her mother is talking about, and Wingman nods, pulling off his helmet. "Batman said that he needed someone on both sides. So much for my disguise," Jason Todd tells Damian as he removes the helmet. Anger fills Damian as he turns to his father. "Tell me this is a joke!" he snaps, but Batman shakes his head. "You shouldn't have come here. We're not playing games or joking." "What does everyone know that I don't?" Damian demands to know. And sadness seems to fill Batman as he explains to Damian that this is the end of Robin, that Talia has backed them into a corner, and he needs to return to her. "If you don't, Gotham, the world, will be plunged into darkness, and you, Damian, you're going to be responsible. And there you have it, the next cliffhanger for our Batman Incorporated storyline. The battle of Batman and Talia for his son Damian Wayne, for the title of Robin. But what's going to happen next? Make sure you check back every Sunday for another Batman story and our continued coverage of Batman Incorporated. And you can also vote on the next story that will be covered here by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/comicstorian. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and we'll see you next time right here.